So with Darius, Taraba will be great. So with Darius, Taraba will be better place. So with Darius, Taraba will
these are some of the questions that people have asked me how the song came about. I was opportunely to meet with His Excellency in his office, and I asked him a couple of questions, which are the same questions I've asked other governors I was privileged to meet. And they got offended by some of the questions I asked because it's more personal and it has depth, simply because maybe they are building their systems and governance based on styles and noise, not content. So I watched His Excellency Architect Darius, answer the questions I asked him about governance and some of his personal commitment to the rescue of Taraba State, and I could literally feel the depth, of how he was pouring his heart concerning the state. I could literally feel, his love and passion to seeing Taraba State become the state of his dream. It was very clear he was not acting what he was saying, but you could feel the passion. You could literally feel his heart pulse towards what he was saying. It was truly an expression of his lifestyle and his passion for leadership towards building and development of Taraba State. So that night I left his office and I had a whisper in my ears that there is hope for Nigeria. Taraba can be better. Taraba can be more safer. Taraba can be a better place with men like His Excellency Arc Darius Dickson Ishaku. And surprisingly, that is how the song came about. But not by his words, because people can say a lot of things and then we don't see them. I've been around the state, around the schools, around the community, and I could see the availability of water. I could see the schools improved, the facility improved. I was in Taraba a couple of years for some work, and there is nothing actually to write home about. But after going around, you could see the schools, you could see the students very clean, and then the teachers they have, they are trained and they are professionals. And while I was leaving his office, I was really impressed as a confirmation of things he have said concerning Taraba State. When I saw a picture on his wall, and then I saw him with some of the students around him, I think there was a competition that took place in Abuja where a lot of students all over the country came, and Taraba came second. And that is a proof, because when there's an investment, the only way you can prove is by the result you see coming out in those sectors. Water is something that is extremely, in abundance in Taraba State. This is something that was not there before. I was shocked when I was talking with one of the permanent secretaries in Ministry of Water Resources, and I told her, I said, because of how I see the availability of water in the state, how many bowls do we have? She was still for a couple of minutes, and she said, actually what we have in our record cannot even be accurate, because one thing with His Excellency is that anywhere he goes and the people cry, Baba Kokumba, give us water, and anyone that is with him in the entrance, you will just say, please, before next week I want to see a borehole here for these people. So they've lost count on how much he has made impact when it comes to water resources. I want to say this: what Architect Darius is doing is not doing because he's a politician, but he's doing because of the love he has for his people. What about the story of a woman he was passing, and then he saw the woman that was making cocoa out of budget, out of plan, but because of his love for creativity, he stopped, had a child with the woman, ordered that machines be brought for her from abroad, and today she's doing well. That is what we are talking about. And secondly, I checked security. If we will not commend His Excellency Architect Darius Dickson Ishaku for anything, we must thank God for his life, for the wisdom and the ability to walk around the clock and making sure that we can sleep in our houses, we can attend to our businesses, our children can go to schools. Some of the stories we heard about these headsmen and some of the the tragic experience where people are killed like chicken, where people are innocently killed. And I was really shocked. You could almost see, as if he's, as a governor, as if he want to cry. And he told me something. He said one of the tragic moments of his administration is where he will come to his office and he will see pictures of innocent people being killed. He said that was the worst aspect he has ever felt in his administration. So if for nothing else, for the fact that we can sleep, attend to our business, is something that he should be commended for. If that is all he has achieved in Taraba State, I think it's worth it, because we can't go to schools without being safe. We can't go to our market and do our businesses. The economy of the state cannot grow when there is no peace. There will be no social event. There will not be growth in our state when there is no peace. I think it's something that we need to commend him for. I've been around Taraba, a few hospitals around the state, and I was able to ask some few things. Some of us that know the history of some of the hospitals, more especially the government-owned hospitals in the state, the general hospitals, the one in the state capital, Jalingo, the one in Takum, and then the other places. So some of the hospitals that was built since in the 80s, and they were never renovated, touched, or maintained. But when he came to power, he made sure that some of these facilities are put in place. And so there are some funny things we see in politics where people just build a place and leave the inner place empty. But I was really impressed when I heard His Excellency say it's not about fancy structure, but it's all about service. It's all about having the right equipment, because facilities does not heal people. Facilities does not take care of those that are sick. So aside making the hospital look clean and then renovated everything, he makes sure that there is state-of-the-art facilities in almost all the hospitals that he worked upon. So I have been in Taraba for a couple of weeks, and I could literally tell you that the light does not blink, unlike what we meet before. And it is important to know that some of the achievements of His Excellency are not things that, if you are not careful, are not things that you can sense. And the reason being that years past, it has been governance without result. And so one of the things we have to understand about the impact and development programs of His Excellency is that these 3 years of his administration, he's working on the foundational level. And naturally, when we talk about foundations are not something you will see, and sometimes tends to take one of the hardest part in a building. So most times people think there's not much that is done, but if you can come to the state and see for yourself, you will know that the foundation has been set correctly, and then the second time a lot of things are going to pick up. He have shared some of his vision, and I've seen some of the plans, and I've interacted with few people around the state, and the testimony was really huge. One of the things I encountered while I moved around the state and talked to one of few people, I went to a program, and I was surprised when I saw a couple of women gathered, and they were shouting, Baba Kokumba, Daram Dam Dam Dam, or something like that. And I was trying to find out what does that actually mean, and why are they jubilating like this? And they were like, we've seen a father, we've seen somebody that have our interests at heart. And I was like, so what is your plan concerning 2019? And I was shocked to hear what they said. They said, it's not just a plan, but our prayer is that God give us Baba Kokumba, let him finish what he have started, or else we perish. So this is how far, people are touched, people have experienced, what he has done. And I must commend what he has done, because if you look at through his administration, one thing he said again to me that actually caught my mind was the fact that he believed that state resources is not for the few, but for the people. So if you look at all his programs, it's towards the people directly. And one other thing I must commend is the support of his wife. Many first ladies we have around the state, it's all about titles, having offices to just embezzle money and just go like that. I'm the governor's wife, so stuffs like that. But I was really impressed when I We went around and then seen some couple of projects, interacting with people about what Her Excellency is doing in the Hope Afresh Foundation, Taraba. I was amazed. And the truth of the matter is that I must commend her effort. She stood out while other first ladies are trying to fit in. I've been around the country, interact with few first ladies, and you can see there is no vision, there is no passion for impacting life. And so, but you come to Taraba State, you see her programs complementing what the husband is doing. And I was impressed when she said something to me. She said having her husband as the governor of the state is beyond just a family business, it's beyond just politics. But she was confident that Taraba State have indeed gotten a father for all, who cares from the depth of his heart. And I was so impressed when they were laying the foundation for one of the health center in the general hospital, and the Excellency could say, thank God for the gift of my wife. She sees things I don't see. She could notice things I don't notice. So that means their heart is knitted together in the governance of Taraba State. The last thing I would say is it's one thing for a leader to have a vision, but it's another thing to have the people that will push the vision with him. No matter how strong the vision of a leader is, without people that will be ready to follow him, it will not be possible. I believe the foundation has been set within these 3 years, and I'm hoping that the people of Taraba should come up, let their voices be heard. Like His Excellency will always say, together is easier, together we can. He said his strength of his government is not just on noise, but the strength and motivation of his programs and development in the state is all about the people. So finally, I want to call on Tarabans. It's not about religion. It's not just about politics, but it's about setting a foundation for the future of our children. So I want to call on every citizen in Taraba State that 2019, I'm appealing to hope, that together we can, together it will be better. Let's not allow people around to come and spoil what has started. And I bet you if we can come together and put our heads together and ensure the return of the rescue captain, His Excellency, believe me, things are going to be extremely great. Let's do 2019 together. See you at the place.
So with Darius, Taraba will be great. So with Darius, Taraba will be a better place. So with Darius, Taraba will be safe. 'Cause we can see the brighter days ahead. 'Cause we can feel a better state today. Daram daram dum, daram daram dum, daram daram dum. Daram daram dum, daram daram dum, daram daram dum.